just a week to go to the US presidential elections, and the Democratic and Republican candidates have been redoubling their efforts to try to win over the remaining undecided voters, particularly in swing states. At a rally in Ann Arbor in the swing state of Michigan, Kamala Harris preached her message of hope for the future, in part hoping to convince Muslim and Arab American voters there who are dismayed by her position on Gaza. In Atlanta, Georgia, another swing state, Donald Trump spoke at a faith summit there, hitting back at critics who'd labeled him authoritarian and saying he isn't a Nazi.
To me, Michelle. You know what's nasty to me? Michelle Obama. She was, ooh. I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, she opened up a little bit of a box. She opened up a little bit of something. Oh, she was nasty. Ooh. Shouldn't be that way. That was a big mistake that she made. The newest line from Kamala and her campaign is that everyone who isn't voting for her is a Nazi. We're Nazis. You know, years ago, my father, I had a great father, he's a tough guy. He used to always say, never use the word Nazi, never use that word. And he'd say, never use the word Hitler, don't use that word. It's like, I didn't even know why, don't use that word. And then I understood it. And yet they use that word freely, both words. They use it, he's Hitler. And then they say, he's a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I'm the opposite of a Nazi. I don't know. My father always used to tell me, don't use the word, you don't ever use the word Nazi. And, you know, it's incredible now the way they talk is so disgusting and just horrible the way they talk. We stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again.
We have an opportunity to turn the page and chart a new and joyful way forward where we tap into the ambitions. And we will tap into the ambitions and the aspirations and the dreams of the American people.
Kamala Harris, and before her, Donald Trump. Well, to get a democratic perspective on the US election, I'm joined now on the line from Germany by Angela Forbes, Director of Strategic Initiatives for Democrats Abroad. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Angela. So just a week to go before the US election. The polls are neck and neck, a remarkably tight race, but also pretty stable despite all the wild things that have happened over the last few months, including assassination attempts. From the point of view of your Democratic Party, what's your sense of how it's going so far?
I think it's going quite well. We are, as you said, we are neck and neck, but we are increasing our percent of the voters. And I believe also that the voters from abroad will make a definite difference because we're not counted in those polls. And the majority of us will vote for Kamala.
Well, I mean, let's keep in mind that you've also got Republicans abroad, so it's not just the Democrats.
There are Republicans abroad, and there is an organization that's called, I don't know, Republicans Overseas, but they don't do what we do. We actually try to get people to vote. We help them with any questions that they have. And the Republicans abroad is basically just a PAC. They just do fundraising.
Okay, I'll defer to your assessments there, but I mean, beyond sort of what's going on abroad, what are you hearing about what it's like in America just ahead of this crucial election? I imagine that particularly in the swing states, I mean, things are a bit nerve-wracked and on edge with everyone in a wait-and-see sort of mode.
Well, it's definitely nerve-wracking for sure, especially watching what's going on back at home in the US. But the early voters are greater as Democrats than Republicans. And I think this trend is going to continue uh, until the last day of the election on November 5th, and we will be triumphant.
And as we mentioned at the outset, the polls are, you yourself mentioned that, are very close indeed. I mean, does that make things more tense for you, for instance, at the moment?
Oh, yes, it makes me very nervous. That is one reason why everyone is working so hard to make sure we get as many people from abroad to vote, because we know that Democrats abroad are definitely the margin of victory. And I mean, to be honest, these past 3 weeks have been pretty difficult, but we're all working through it, and we're going to keep up our activities until the election day, the final election day.
And one of the big, I mean, we had Donald Trump earlier there. One of the big promises that he's been making throughout the campaign is that he's going to carry out mass deportations of illegal immigrants if he gets into power. I mean, how do you reckon that might affect the US economy? Because according to the US Department of Homeland Security, I mean, there are about 11 million, possibly more, undocumented migrants in the US.
I think it will heavily damage our economy. I think that Donald Trump, despite the fact that he has a moniker of being a businessman, doesn't understand how the economy works. And he doesn't realize that all the people that are here, that are in the United States, that are not documented, are working. They're working and they're contributing to the economy. They're doing jobs that Americans don't want to do. And once, like picking fruit and vegetables, working in slaughterhouses, and all sorts of things that Americans don't no longer want to do. So this will pretty much destroy the United States economy if this comes to pass. Not to mention, it will break up a lot of families, because a lot of people that live in the United States documented are married to US citizens. And yeah, it won't be positive, and it will not make the world see the US in a good light either.
And I mean, it's interesting that in spite of everything Mr. Trump is accused of, such as racism, I mean, I'm seeing many black and brown people saying that they're preparing to vote for him. I mean, why is that? And does that make you sort of wring your hands in despair?
Wring my hands in despair? Not exactly. As far as Black people go, the majority of Black people will vote for Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. There have always been Black Republicans, and it does make me a little, not in despair, but just curious what they're thinking. I know that hopefully with his Madison Square Garden hate rally that he had a couple of days ago, that many Latinos will reconsider if they've considered voting for Trump. I also think that a lot of people that are people of color that think about voting for Trump, I think they don't take him seriously, that he's going to do all these things, or that the hateful things that he says about us. But he is definitely serious. And we should actually believe him, and people should vote accordingly.
What about a very large sort of voting populace, the Arab Americans? I mean, have the Democrats come up with a sort of conjuring trick about how to convince the many Arab Americans, for instance, in Michigan, who say they've lost faith in Kamala Harris over her position in Gaza?
Well, I don't know if they've come up with a solution to that problem, but what I would suggest to the Arab Americans is that Donald Trump will be a lot worse. And he's not movable. He's already threatened to give more weapons to Israel to finish the Palestinians off. And that is not anything that President Biden or Vice President Harris would ever do. So they need to reconsider, because he doesn't like them either.
Yes, well, I mean, given everything that we've talked about, how confident are you going into this election without making you sort of repeat yourself?
I feel like we have as good of a shot to win as the Republicans do. But what that's going to require is that people actually vote, because when we vote, we win. And I would suggest that any Americans who might be watching this right now, if they haven't requested an absentee ballot, they should go to votefromabroad.org, request an absentee ballot, ask for it to come by mail, and then send it back right away, because we need every vote to win. And I know that in many countries, people are also concerned about the US election. There's no place to hide from America. So everyone, we just need you to vote.
Indeed. And if perchance Donald Trump wins, what do you think America will look like?
I think it won't look like anything that any of us know about America. I think it will be more harsh. I think it will be more cruel. I think there'll be a lot more violence. And I think that, like any tyrant or dictator, that he will not have any concern for any of the people, even the people that voted for him, because he's only interested in himself. And so the United States will be unrecognizable to any of us.
Yes, but not necessarily voting for Donald Trump doesn't mean that people will want to vote for Kamala Harris. Why would they want to vote for her without Donald Trump being in the picture at all? What would motivate someone to go and vote for Kamala Harris? What is her selling point?
Her selling point is that she is a new generation of leader with a lot of ideas about how to lift up the people in the United States and help us all. Has a lot of plans to help the middle and lower class, and those are the people in the United States that need to be helped, not the rich. We don't need any more tax breaks for the rich. Several Republican presidents have done that. What we need are policies and plans, which she has, for lowering cost of health care, for helping people buy homes. She has a plan to work with the builders to build, I think it was 100,000 new homes, maybe more, so that we can have more housing stock, so that the price for buying a home is cheaper. The Biden-Harris administration has released 30 million student loans, and we want to continue that so that more people can get free from the debt of going to university. She wants to lower prescription drugs. She wants to help small business owners by increasing the amount of benefit that you get. And right now it's $5,000 if you start a new business of help you get from the government, but she wants to increase that to $25,000. There are many, many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, and that don't have something to do with Donald Trump, honestly. And if you'd like to learn more, you can go to her website. There is a very long, I think it's like 30 pages of things, of policies on her website at kamalaharris.com, and check it out for yourself.
I want to thank you very much indeed. It's been really nice talking with you, and thank you for taking the time to join us. Angela Forbes is Director of Strategic Initiatives for Democrats Abroad, and she was talking to me on the line from Germany. Thank you very much.